This is all of the dividends I received in a 12-month period, so the entirety of 2024. I started investing January in 2020. I've been building up ever since then. I've captured every single dividend I've ever received, and we're going to go over what 12 months worth of dividends looks like in a six-figure portfolio. Over the course of the last 12 months, my portfolio has actually doubled due to the gains in the market and some contributions as well. I've maxed out my ISA. So I've gone from around £50,000 to now I'm sitting around £113,000. So what do the dividends look like in a portfolio like that? So let's get into the spreadsheet and go over the detail. Okay, so this is the spreadsheet that I use. I use it for tracking all of my dividends. We're going to go over each month by month so that we can see how we've performed. So this is the spreadsheet I use. It's really straightforward. It's dead simple. It shows all the businesses and funds that I've invested into. Some of them have disappeared. Let's go over that detail. Let's go over, first of all, start right back at the beginning in January. So January, typically it's not a massive month for me. We get a few quid through, but obviously this is at a time when my portfolio was half of what it is now. So starting in January, I had Disney. I have since sold Disney, which was actually a terrible decision to make because it's since absolutely rocked it. But that's the nature of investing into individual businesses, unfortunately. So I got £1.74. They only introduced a dividend in 2023. So it was a small amount, £1.74. Pepsi, hold Pepsi for years now. It is still 10% down. It is one of the worst performing stocks in my portfolio. £9.62. Realty Income, which of course is a monthly paying dividend, that came in at £12.26. So the total in individual businesses was £23.62. No funds paid in January, so the total £23.62. Let's have a look at February. February, unfortunately, wasn't much better. We got an Apple dividend. Apple pay a tiny dividend in reality. I hold probably about £3,000 in Apple, and I get a £3 dividend once a quarter. It is a quarterly paying dividend. Realty Income, as usual, £15.59. Next, we move on to March. March is always a little bit better. So £4.24 in Microsoft. That is a small paying dividend business as well. 3M came in at £15.14. I have since sold that one as well. And guess what? Gone through the roof as well. £9.74 in Johnson & Johnson. That's another business I'm struggling with a bit. Unilever is doing really well for me. £15.73 and £12.49 in Realty Income. What I don't understand is I add into Realty Income every month. I thought that the dividend would go up every month, but it doesn't. It kind of fluctuates. That gives me a total of 57 and 34 pence for individual stocks, but the ETF started paying out. Emerging markets, £10.23, S&P 500, £62, and the all world, £36. So in total for funds, £108, and total across is £165. So it's a few quid. I'm really happy with that when to start getting to that level. April obviously is a bit of a quieter month as well. So it all depends on what businesses you hold in terms of when they pay. And don't, one of the things I'll say is don't buy a business just because it pays at a certain time to try and fill a gap. That doesn't make any sense. Make sure you buy businesses you're comfortable with. Pepsi then again, Realty Income, of course, and that's the total for, what are we on? April, £22.95. May, a little bit better again. So we had a few individual businesses. We've got Apple coming in again. Aviva, so that pays twice a year and it pays a nice chunky dividend. So that was £50.78. Lloyd's pays twice a year and that's a chunky dividend. I'm really, I think about 20% up in Lloyd's at the moment, doing well. And Realty Income. So total across all of them, no ETFs, £120.41. June then was the biggest month I've ever had. £1.96 in Alphabet, so that's Google, of course. £4.81 in Microsoft. I won't read through all of them, but you can see the individual businesses then came to £215.56. And that's thanks largely, of course, you'll see right there, to Legal in General. That pays a massive dividend once a year and a smaller dividend once a year. So it's a biannual dividend. So 215 for individual stocks, but also the funds came in big style. £12.20 for biotech, 33 emerging markets, 78 S&P 500. So I hold VUSA as my S&P 500. That's the dividend paying version. You can get accumulation versions. That means that they reinvest the dividend in the background. You don't need to worry about it. £182.91 for my all world. I hold FTWG, which is an Invesco fund. The reason I hold that one is because it's just as good as Vanguard. Actually, it's better because it's got more exposure to emerging markets and it is cheaper. So the Vanguard version is 0.22%. And the Invesco one is 0.15. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up over the years. So that gave me a total of £521.77. Of course, this is completely passive income. I've not had to do anything at this point in order to get that money. I had to do my research back in the day in order to decide what I was going to invest in. But 520 quid, bloody massive for me, that is. If you are interested in opening an account, by the way, I use Trading 212. They're, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best platforms there is out there. No platform fees whatsoever, so they're one of the cheapest out there, easiest to use. And if you use a link in my bio or promo code Neil, you will get a free fractional share as a result of doing so. That's typically worth somewhere between 10 and £100. It usually comes out at around 12, 13, 14, but it's a free, a little bit of cash to get started. I've known people get as much as 70, £80. So it's a lottery. It's random what you get. So July, one of the quietest months of the year for me. All we got was realty income. August, again, really quiet month. We got £3.52 from Apple. Realty income, of course, that it is starting to increase. You can see as my deposits are going into it. September is always a good month. We got, all the usual suspects in terms of quarterly. So you see a pattern. Look, you get September, June, March, December. They're the big months, typically because a lot of US businesses pay at that within those timeframes. So Apple, Microsoft, Pepsi coming in again. Unilever paid, UK big business, obviously £36 from Lloyd's. So that's the second Lloyd's payment for the year, realty income, and then the second LNG legal and general payment, £68. So that came in at £155.79 for the individual businesses. Really good. The All World, 135, S&P 500, 81, and emerging markets, 41. So that gave me a total of £414 and £68 for September, which is a really good month. Nothing can beat the June payment, of course. We have that every month. We'd take it. October, quiet month, but we did get our Aviva second payment, £46.05. Always nice. Every single dividend I receive, I reinvest directly back into the business that it paid. So that's how you compound. That's how you get real growth in the long term. So total £59.34, mainly, of course, because of Aviva. November is a quiet month. So just, what was that one? Apple, £2.03, realty income, and a small amount for clean energy. So that's a fund that I have sold. I only had about £400 in there. It was down quite a bit. I reevaluated it, re-looked at it, and decided that actually my cash could be invested elsewhere and get a better return, which it has since done. December then, we finished the year on a high. So we got all the usuals in terms of the quarterlies, nothing majorly jumping out there. But again, the funds paid big, and the S&P 500 was the biggest payment that we've received over the course of the year. All World, 135, emerging markets, 11, and iShares Biotech, £8. So a biotech fund pays twice a year. So if we look at the totals across that, it makes for tasty reading as far as I'm concerned. Actually, I'm going to bring it down a little bit further because I want to show you something else. So black that out. It's going from smallest to biggest. So Disney is the smallest. I sold that, obviously, but all the way up to LNG, that paid a total of £220 over the course of the year. Same with the funds, go to smallest to biggest. The All World, of course, paying £490. So in funds, £925. Every single penny reinvested. In individual businesses, £769. That gave me a total of £1,694.75. Now, what I've also done here is worked out 0.78. So what? 78 pence. What am I talking about? So 78 pence works out as my hourly rate I received in dividends. So if you consider over the course of a working week, 37 and a half hours, times that by 52, divide that by the amount I received, 1,694. I actually increased my hourly pay, if you look at it that way, by 78 pence. So how does this compare then to previous years? So this is 2024, of course. So 2023 total was 1,000. So it's gone up, what's that, 70% versus then. The last few years, I've doubled my money every time, just didn't manage it this time. 2022, £470, 2021, £156, all the way back to 2020, where I got £66.09. So in 4 years, in 5 years, however you want to look at it, it has increased pretty much exponentially. Now imagine what that potential has over the course of the next few years, what it could do, what those numbers look like. I'm pretty consistent I'm in terms of the businesses that I hold now. There's been few changes. So Disney, 3M, clean energy has come out. Nothing's gone in. I've kept it simple. What I find is the more that you continue with this sort of stuff, the more you realize the simpler, the better. So that's exactly what I've done. Really happy with those. Every single penny has been reinvested back into every single business. And that puts me well on track to reach financial independence, which I'm aiming to do by the time that I'm 50, and that's in 9 years' time. All right, if you've got any questions about any of this sort of stuff, let me know. There is also a link below if you want to join the newsletter. I randomly, sporadically send out updates in terms of portfolios or updates in terms of any offers that I've seen that have come along that are going to benefit you guys. Any questions, let me know.